To your hat's point, Barry, about making ugly ads, I think there's also something about making just like dumb ads, because this is like objectively, this is like ridiculous and kind of dumb. So for this segment, I wanted to look at do a little bit so different, not look at one ad, but look at angles in particular, particularly looking at one account, which which we see Courtney here.
Hit me.
So this is the JavaSok ad account, and I wanted to use this one because there's a lot of different angles running. I think people can get
just what's an angle?
Man, I was just about to get to that. I think people can get confused between like what an angle and a hook is, or and you know, these are just terms that we use, but a lot of times people think like an angle is a thumb stop, like 3 reasons why to whatever. We don't really look at that. We look at an angle as a way to target a specific type of person with messaging that would resonate with them. So it's not, so creative targeting could be like, you know, are you a woman or a man or something, but angle targeting is like, there's people that resonate with cost or value, or there's people that resonate with problem solving, or there's lots of different ways. And putting those in front of the ad is a great way to horizontally expand the efficiency of the account. Because, you know, one angle, if you're just doing one angle, you will run that into, there's a limit on how much that would particularly scale. You know, Facebook will not be able to find people efficiently after a certain point. So I'd like to run through some of these ads and just talk about, we can critique them as well and talk about the angles going on here. Does anyone have any other thoughts on angles?
Well, one thing I will say is none of these are the thumbnails I've chosen. So just nobody roast me on that. This is not playing them incorrectly.
These are not the thumbnails.
Yeah, let me just refresh it.
Are they not manual? Oh, because you pressed play on them already?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll
better, Rachel.
Man, not a flattering
that one
angle.
Mike is rough.
Thank you.
I don't know if I chose that.
Thank you.
I'll start with this one.
No one would see that. It would autoplay before.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll start with this one. This one is what we call our base unit. It is a piece of creative that we put behind a lot of angles. I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but so it's just like, you know, messy, sweaty cups, and then there's just there's, you know, this is different uses, and then there's some problem solution stuff, and there's a little bit of testimonial, multiple testimonial. Here's Courtney.
Hit me again.
With
Girl.
a great line. And so one thing I love about Courtney is we don't really give her a script. Sometimes we will, but she always goes off cuff, and she always delivers something that makes its way into the edit here. So I'm just going to play this. I'll play this little clip here.
I gifted one to myself because I deserve it. I deserve to have my morning coffee or refresher and not have my hands all cold.
So always very genuine.
Passion.
Academy Award winning.
I felt the passion.
My hand's so cold.
And then, you know, there's some like frequently asked questions, and then I don't know what, and then there's like, you know, review stuff we put in there. Basically, so there's just a lot going on here. And so this goes into a back of a lot of different creative. So let's talk about like the actual angles. And so this is a good example of, there's the market for this is large. It's anyone who drinks iced coffee. And so, but you need to go after different types of people. And this one is very specific here.
JavaSok, oh, give a JavaSok, JavaSok. I never know what to get my daughter for birthdays or holidays anymore. What is she even into these days? But what I do know is that she loves iced coffee just like I do. And so I think she'll love a JavaSok.
And then it goes into the base unit here. Rachel, do you want to talk about who this person is?
This is Marge. She's a local woman, friend of a friend sort of situation. And we like her particularly because of the accent she has and the age demographic. We found that like there's a big older woman gifting sort of segment that we're trying to hit, trying to test some stuff before Q4. And like, this I think was our first pass at this kind of thing to see if it would work, where maybe we'll do some more versions in the future, but you know, we kind of have to start now in anticipation for gifting season in like a month and a half.
Yeah, accents are great. This is the customer base is all over the place, but there's a lot in New England. And if you're like iced coffee, it's like you are me, you know. So that's an example.
Have you done that? Have you done that one without the song, without the anthem in it, where it starts right after the
We
anthem?
haven't yet. We haven't yet. I don't think we have enough spend behind this yet to know really performance wise. I will say that I believe the thumb stop and the watch time are excellent. I could be wrong though, but I believe they're good.
Interesting. Because the bit right after her like jingle, I think was a good. I think she says like, I never know what to get.
Yeah. And to your hat's point, Barry, about making ugly ads, I think there's also something about making just like dumb ads, because this is like objectively, this is like ridiculous and kind of dumb, but it's also a little bit endearing too. So that could be a reason why
it's good cringe. It's good cringe.
Good cringe.
I mean, the whole point of make ugly ads about anything is like, make the thing that a creative director would never make, right? Because then at least someone watching it will not think it was an ad at first. That's the whole barrier you're just trying to like, break.
Yeah, dumb works. There's I don't know if it's in this ad, but in that same shoot that was like a while ago, I say something about it looks pretty, and that's weird. But that I was just like, I just give them a whole bunch of B-roll, and I'm like, and then in the video, the raw video that I sent them, I'm like, hey, you should probably cut this part out. Or it's like an outtake that I know you've actually ran before, where I'm like, oh crap, I missed my turn and I was driving. And so it's like the dumb stuff that's like, okay, this is actually realistic and this is definitely not a paid actor.
Yep. And if you're working with creators, be wary of scripts, because if they stick to the script, that's all you're going to get. And sometimes it just isn't there, you know?
One thing, Jess, is that almost all of us are in this ad account. And I really cannot recommend that enough. Courtney mentioned that before, but like you just said, you cannot always rely on creators to like give the best read. And maybe I can't give the best read, and maybe Courtney's not gonna give the best read, but we can certainly know what may or may not work, and we can give it a try. And then if you see it's working, double down and go find a creator that can give a better read. You know, I think it's all about moving really fast and being agile. And sometimes you can just do it best yourself. And honestly, I would encourage every media buyer to give this kind of thing a shot.
Yeah, it's all about the data. And when you can look at the data yourself, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly what is and isn't working. Like the one that we looked at the beginning, that ad started out completely different. I added the text, I added the voiceover, I edited it together because I saw that it was like kind of working, and then I needed to make it better. And so, but instead of me having to like pull the report, send the report, explain the report to someone who's not really in the same mindset, I'm like, I can see it from all angles. And then like one of my favorite parts about doing what I do on both sides is like, there's like the sciencey data side, and then there's the creative intangible side, and being able to marry those is something that not a lot of people have. Like, not to toot my own, but like not a lot of people can see both sides of that in the same like, exact section.
Yep, you're one of a kind, Courtney.
Hug you,
truly.
Yeah.
So let's just do a few more quickly. Oh, do you have anything to say?
No, I was just going to echo that and add like you. It's really hard when you like send. If you were to like say like, hey, here's what worked before, and you ship that to someone else, and they'll look at it and they'll analyze it, and they're not going to catch the nuances that you do and that you understand is like what's working. And it's really frustrating for me, just personally, when I'm like, oh yeah, here's the source material to replicate, and then they kind of replicate the prettier version ideas of it, and I'm like, no, like I wanted you to like do this stuff and like catch these little things, and like. It's really weird because you get to see and know the pattern of the nuance that like works, but other people, they kind of just assume, oh, let me make the perfect version of this. Let me practice. Let me prep it over, and it becomes less authentic. It becomes less watchable.
Yep. iteration reps is how you sort of build knowledge.
Mhm.
So let's look at this one real quick. It's pretty obvious with
Wait,
the
wait,
angle.
Jess,
Yeah.
can we choose a bad one? There's an ad that's not doing well in here, and I
Let's
want
go.
everybody's opinion.
Let's choose a bad
There's
one because
only
I
one?
think let's just go this one first and then do a bad one. I'll do this one quickly because I think
Okay.
it's a really good example of sort of laser
Okay.
targeting.
You already know I love Starbucks. This little thing makes every Starbucks experience 100 times better. And I always thought
Okay, so you'll get it from this, and then it goes into whatever. But the thing about this one is the majority of the customers are Dunkin' Donuts customers. But we're not going to scale into Starbucks centric people if, first of all, if we only have Dunkin's, or if we're like, this works for any cup, So if you want to scale into a whole separate group with something that resonates, literally being as overt as possible. And this is basically a Starbucks pick. So that's an example. So what's not working here, Rachel?
Coworker
By
is
the way,
not
I think
working.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think you could find language that does cover both Starbucks
yeah.
and Dunkin'.
Yep.
We
And-
have.
play with
It's
that, yeah.
called the Will It Fit.
Yeah.
That's also in this account.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you certainly could, but like, just I think you can juice that a little bit of extra ROAS by going
I agree.
being specific on a particular ad.
Yeah, totally.
Where's the
That's a
coworker
great
one?
call-out.
Oh,
Don't do it.
sorry,
Don't
it's
do
off. I must have already turned it off.
Turned it off.
Good, because I
Only
don't.
good things.
Don't do it.
No,
Don't do
this
it.
one's not stellar. This one's not stellar. I'm only keeping it on because it's the season.
Right. So broad audience. We
Back
already
to
looked at
school.
the older woman one. This one's very different. Let's just look at it.
You have no idea how many people stopped me on my walk to class this morning just because of my JavaSok. Normally by the time I get to class, my coffee is melted, there's condensation everywhere. Thank goodness for JavaSok.
Okay. So student. So what's the angle here, Rachel?
Mhm. Yeah. So she's. Oh, sorry. The angle.
Yeah. Or what are we trying to do?
Yeah, so I think we've really struggled to get this sort of college age, younger Gen Z person. So obviously she's like dressed Gen Z to a T. She's on campus. She's a little bit stiff here, I think, is the problem. This scene is a little bit not believable. Her read's not super great. I have a huge pet peeve about like clipping and like the weird exposure issues we might be having. But yeah, I don't know. There's
I didn't edit this. That's not my edit. I color correct everything. How dare you?
Maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, so it's just another example of an angle that's going after a specific thing. Like if you did like 3 reasons why, that's not gonna target any particular. It might be an interesting hook for some people, but it's not gonna seek its own audience out. Barry,
I would swap those first 2 clips, by the way, like the first 2 portions
Yeah.
of that, like not just the clips, but if you haven't, I'm not saying it'll do better. I would just try it, right? Just to be clear, anyone who's watching this, like I'm not saying like, oh, switch those 2, slam dunk, it'll win. No, I'm saying like the hook to me, I don't like this hook. Was the first word she says, you have no idea. You've already lost my attention. Who cares? No one cares. Period.
She's
So,
also walking
but-
towards you. Maybe that's a little weird.
Yeah, like why?
Yep.
Why? This is
Right.
this
Yeah.
is like
Point.
not believable at all. But what's the second part about this? She talks about like how after this right there, the no more whatever it is, wet whatever it is, like that that part of her hook might work. Yeah, no more melted ice. Like
Yep.
you just swap those 2. It might work a little bit better. Just either visually or audio wise. If you didn't do that, just play with it. I mean, neither of them are that believable.
right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barry, I know you also work on a product, Razors, which has like a massive audience. How do you think about, angles or pitches going after like guys,
it's going after guys, right? You also have to remember that women buy razors,
right? Exactly.
For themselves, but almost more importantly for their husbands and boyfriends and whatever. So you know, there's that weird little bit you have to think about as well. And then I'm really just trying to often find because it's such a broad product. It's such a, you know, so many people do shave, but not everyone shaves. Obviously, you know, I don't shave my whole face, but I do shave my cheeks. Like it's about I'm trying to find the broadest possible angles that I can, that get the most possible people's attention and let me, you know, like move into whatever like second angle that I want. So lately, you know, we're focusing a lot on price as an angle.
Yep.
Because we're basically saying similar quality, much cheaper price.
Yep.
And that's the thing that we're seeing a lot of success with focusing on that right now. We're going to play with some other angles. Was there something else you wanted me to talk about that? Or you have other questions about that?
Nope. I'm just soaking it all up, Barry.
Yeah.